All right, I'm making this video to let you know the things I learned from real estate. So, little backstory. I was formerly a mailman. I worked at the post office for 5 years. While I was working at the post office, I started learning about real estate. So I learned for an entire year before I made any purchases. So I listened to podcasts, watched YouTube videos like what you're watching now, and I just studied the industry for like a whole year. After studying that real estate for a whole year, I then decided to take risks and make my first investment purchase in a rental property. No, my first property was actually a flip. I bought a house, fixed it up, and sold it. So these are things I learned from investing in real estate. All right. So first, when you buy a real estate deal, both parties, the seller and the buyer, are trying to meet in the middle at what the property is worth. So the seller is trying to get the most they can, the buyer is trying to get it for as cheap as they can. So what happened is you end up meeting in the middle, right? So say there's a property and the seller wants $120,000 and I feel like it's worth $80,000. We set up at $100,000. This is where the magic happens, right? So you buy the property, right? So I buy my first property, $50,000. I buy the property for $50,000, and guess what I think it's worth? Well, not what I think it's worth, because I felt like it was worth more, but everybody else felt like it was worth around $50,000 to $60,000, right? So this is the power of real estate. You buy that property on January 1st, 2025, right? December 2025, that property that you purchased for $100,000 is now worth $125,000, right? 1 year, the property went up $25,000, correct? So you bought it for $100 on January 1st, December 31st, the property is now worth $125,000. Mind you, this is the fun part. The whole year, you collected rent. So you made, let's say, $500 a month positive cash flow just from having the property. Year 2, you bought the property for $100,000. Now the bank calls you and say, hey, Mr. George, you know that property over there on Avenue B is worth $150,000 now. I bought it for $100,000. 2 years later, it's worth $150,000. This is the fun part. For them 2 years, you've been making a monthly payment. So you don't owe the bank $100,000 no more. You owe them, let's just say, $80,000. So you got a property worth $150,000 and you owe the bank $80,000. 150 minus 80, you just made $70,000 in 2 years. And that's what I didn't realize. I purchased my first property to live in, I think 130 grand, stayed there 2 years, and all of a sudden it's worth $180,000. And I was like, I owe less money, the property went up, so it appreciated. So that's the first lesson I learned in real estate. Real estate appreciate by the second. When you breathe, it goes up $1. You breathe again, it's up $2. So you go to sleep, your real estate continues to climb. They don't make no more land. So the house, the neighborhood could be whatever, the land, every day they build, they're taking up all the land. And that increases the value of real estate, because the less of it, the more valuable. The more of it, the less valuable. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So that's first lesson. It's called unrealized appreciation. You living somewhere or you purchase something, you thought you purchased it at a fair price, come to find out 2 years later, the property is almost doubled in value. So that's why I encourage real estate. It appreciates while you pays it down, and it gives you a day to cash out and earn your money. All right? Okay, this is a good one, right? This is a good one. So, second, this is what I like about real estate, or what I learned in real estate. I learned that where can you purchase a property for $200,000, right? The property is worth $200,000, but you only put down $15,000 and you control $200,000. So just, I want you to think about it. You got this building is worth $200,000 and it generates, let's say, $2,000 a month, right? This is what you're buying, 200 grand, and it generates $2,000 a month. But all the bank wants you to do is give them $15,000. So you're gonna put in $15,000 of your own money, and you control a $200,000 asset. So the power of that is when you give somebody who is motivated and got ambition and hardworking, what happened is you got $15,000 of your own money controlling a $200,000 train. So what we do is you take the $15,000 and you take this $200,000 train and you turn up the engine and you make it go faster. So now you fixing up stuff, you fixing up the bedrooms, fixing up the floors, you painting, you putting a fence up, you making this $200,000 asset now start to look like a $300,000 asset. And guess what? When it looks like a $300 asset, I'm gonna take it straight to Airbnb, and now instead of making $2,000 a month, it's making $4,000 a month. But guess what it all started with? $15,000. So you gotta look, anytime, if you wanna go somewhere, you wanna buy anything, you normally have to purchase or put down all the money. Like I got a lawnmower right here. If I wanna use this lawnmower, most of the time, if you buying things that you can't finance, you gotta put down the $5,000 or $3,000, whatever it costs, you normally have to pay for that amount. But in this case, you can control, so the whole goal is you wanna control and have, when I say control, that means you run it, you managing it, you improve it, you making it better, you making it faster, you making it look stronger. So you wanna control as much as you can manage personally, that you can manage, but you wanna have as little skin in the game as possible. So what I like to do is, FHA loan. My first property, or second, this is my second property, but 3%, I think I put $7,000 down on a $200,000 asset. So the bank literally gave me $193,000 and I had to put down $7,000 just to control a $200,000 asset. It's a fair trade because I took this $200,000 asset with my $7,000 and turned it into a $300,000 asset. And you know how I do that? Improving the property, raising the rent, improving the landscape. These are things, and guess what happened too? The universe. The universe improves it every day. Remember I told you? Every day it goes up $1 and it's ticking. So you doing your improvement and the universe doing it. Also, this is what I learned about real estate. If you have a job, right, and your job, say you're making up $50,000 a year, and you need to save up $50,000. If you're making $50,000 and grocery costs $1,000, how can you save any money if you're making $50,000 a year to buy real estate, right? So this is the key. Even if you don't buy investment property, the home you live in, you need to purchase, because if you just live in your own home for 2 to 5 years, it's almost a guarantee you can walk away with at least a $50,000 minimum check. If you just buy a house, stay there for 5 years, it's almost guaranteed when you sell that property, your check gonna be, I say, 6 figures. 2 years, $50,000. You stay there 5 years in any property, don't matter where you at. You stay there 5 years, you pay your mortgage every month, and let the universe take its toll. You're gonna walk away with at least $50,000 check. Now, I just told you, you working a job, you can't save up $50,000. I was working. I go to work, pay my bills, I got $500, $1,000 left, I'm saving it. But just think, if you're saving $1,000 every 2 weeks or $1,000 a month, how long would it take you to save up $50,000? $1,000 a month, 12 months in a year, 12, 24, 36, 40. It's gonna take you 5 years to save up $50,000, right? Or if you buy a house, because you gotta live somewhere, you stay there 5 years, and that 5 years turn you into a 6-figure check. So that's why I love real estate. You have to pay your bills. You have to pay somewhere to live. Either you're gonna pay somebody else rent or you're gonna pay your mortgage. And if you pay your mortgage and you stay there 5 years, in this day and time, you guaranteed to walk away with at least a $50,000 check if you decide to sell that property. You build in equity. That's why most homeowners, whether they invest in real estate or not, if you just own your home, when you retire, you will have a net worth at least $500,000. Worst case scenario. You just buy a house, stay there for 30 years. If I stay here for 30 years, don't decide to move, pay the house off, I have a $500,000 net worth, whether I try or not. I can sell the house for $500,000, go live in a nursing home as far as I care. But you got to have home ownership. Worst case scenario. You don't have to invest and buy rental properties, buy land, but at least purchase your own home, because it's a guaranteed way to increase your generational wealth. Not only is you gonna create wealth, if something happened and they go to your kids, they got instant gratification wealth. All right? All right, so if you want to get into real estate and you have questions about your situation specific or any type of situation where you would like to reach out to me, you can go to email georgesellhomes@gmail.com and you can reach out. Or you can go to Instagram, GeorgeDoRealEstate. I got plenty of videos on YouTube, so you can subscribe, but trust me, you got to buy a piece of the earth, all right? Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, click the like video. Peace.